I'm going to do my best to give you some practical advice in regards to turning your passions into paychecks. Hey, how you doing? J-Man here, and thank you for having unlocked to yet another edition of the Launchpad podcast. It's been a while since I've done a solo cast, and I'm very, very happy to be pouring a little bit of me into you. I'm going to be getting vulnerable at some point, so just bear with me, and I'm going to do the best as possible in the shortest amount of time to give you a very good outline of some of the steps that you need to do to take your passions and turn them into a paycheck. So first and foremost, I'm a former radio announcer of 17 years, and about 10 years into that, I got into MLM, online business, multi-level marketing. Started making $3,000 to $5,000 a month on the side, okay? Now, I'm also going about my regular radio business, and I'm absolutely loving it. I was never expecting my side hustle to turn into that kind of money. I was very happy following not only just the passion of helping people lose weight, that was the business that I was in regards to my online business, but I also loved going on air each and every day and pouring a whole bunch of me into my listener, offering value, not just about the ha-has, not just about the music, but sharing some of the deepest, most intricate parts of me. And everything was gravy until it wasn't gravy. We all know about that guaranteed paycheck, which is an absolute lie. I found that out after I came back from one of my online business events in Orlando, where I got sat down at a boardroom table, was just told that they didn't need my services anymore, and that was it. My guaranteed paycheck was gone, and then I had to take some time to really figure out what I wanted to do. I decided to no longer chase that guaranteed paycheck, put that guarantee on me, and I went full-time into my network marketing business, and I'm glad that I did. And it was going fantastic. And then life interrupted. It is so much better when you don't wait for life to interrupt you before you decide to make a change, opposed to making that change and interrupting life. What happened with me is that there was a young lady that I was working with in that business that I had a relationship with. Her name was Christina, and she passed away quickly. She passed away unexpectedly, and our relationship at the time that she passed was also not good. So she died, and I went into a vicious depression. Man, it was bad, and I got heavy into the alcohol. I also got heavy into debt because I wasn't working my online business as 100% full-time commission. Essentially, I ended up broke, and I had to fix being broke, and I had to fix being broken at the same time. When I started getting back on my feet, and here's one thing right off the top that I'm going to tell you. You need to be well emotionally, you need to be well physically, and you need to be well spiritually. I aligned all three of those things, and I started moving forward and thinking about what are the things that I enjoy doing, and how can I turn that into a little bit of money, not knowing that was going to become my entire life. So one of the things I enjoyed doing was softball. I love to play sports. I love being outside. I was like, well, how can I get paid to play softball? And I quickly realized I couldn't. But I could get paid to umpire softball, and that's exactly what I did. So I got to be outside, be with the boys and girls in the atmosphere that I wanted, and at the very same time had the ability to network. I can't even tell you how much business that has led to my present day. So that was number one. And then number two is I had lost my dog shortly after I lost Christina, because that's life. It was so fucking brutal. I was like, okay, maybe I could take care of other people's dogs. I didn't have enough love in my heart. I was too hurt at the time to go out there and get another dog and potentially suffer another loss like that, but I could go out there, take care of other people's dogs, offer value that way, and make some money, and that's exactly what I did. And the money that I was making through dog sitting and the money that I was making through umpiring was tiding me through while I was rebuilding my online business. So many people think that it's this giant leap to start generating income by turning your passions into paychecks. It's not about that. It's about starting somewhere, Consistency is key, and then it gives the potential for that to turn into something bigger or lead to another avenue that can help you generate money. So, here we are. You're potentially going to lose your job, or you're thinking about following a passion. Here's what you do. Curb your spending. That's the most important thing. There's so many people that are spending money on things that they don't need. Stop doing that. Just start developing a budget. You need to know how much money that you're generally spending in a month. And the reason why that is because you need to know how much money you need to bring in. We're not worried so much about excess at this point. We're just worried about how much money we can access and what that looks like for you. If you have debt, do your best to pay off your debt so you know exactly what you're working with. And if you don't have credit, I strongly suggest that you secure some. A lot of people will say that is bad news, and it's not bad news. When you don't know how to use credit, yeah, then it's bad news. But securing credit, that's a good thing in case you ever have an emergency like I did. Lastly, just to believe that it's possible. There's so many people that don't think that they can leave their job, that don't think that they can make something like that happen. You absolutely can. That dog sitting has now turned into a small business for me to where I make an easy $10,000 each and every year just doing that casually. My umpiring has turned into a summer gig that I continue to do that has led to tens of thousands of dollars of revenue over the years in regards to having people buy websites, graphic design, custom gear through a gentleman that I teamed up with named Sean Gallant and Gallant Media, actually the title sponsor of this podcast, go figure. And we also do trade shows together called Showcase in Petawawa. We had one Showcase in Arnprior, and we're looking at building out another one in another location. So some really exciting stuff. It also got me into a little bit of real estate, some investments, and other small business. You can do it. Most important thing is that you just believe. The universe reinforces people that believe in themselves. You won't fail. You can't fail. It may not go as quickly as you want, but I assure you, if you're consistent and you move along with faith and you believe in what it is that you can do, it can absolutely happen. Now, let me give you a few examples of what you could do. And I remember talking to this one lady, Lynn, and she was talking about how she liked to garden. And she was thinking, how do you take gardening and turn that into money? Let's just take a look at this apartment building that we were in. And I had noticed that some people had decorated their apartments with flowers, like on the balconies, right? And I thought, boy, okay, well, right then and there. I mean, you could just go around to people in your apartment building, and what you can do is that you could offer to do some gardening on their balcony for whatever price. They just pay for the flowers and the plants that they want, and then you charge them for the labor. That's a great idea. And it doesn't have to be one thing either. Everyone thinks it has to be this one giant shot of whatever it is that you do. It could be a whole bunch of different things. Let's take this next level. Instead of just going to people in the apartment building and asking people one by one, maybe you could go to the person that owns the building and have a conversation with them and say, listen, I think, and you might agree, that, you have a beautiful building, but what could make this building look even more beautiful would be more gardening. Can you imagine people driving down the street, taking a look at this building, and they just can't help but to say, oh my God, like, look at all the flowers and the plants, that are coming off those balconies on that building. And he's like, you know what, that sounds like a pretty good idea. And guess who he should hire to do that for everyone there, to where possibly he prints out all the pamphlets and puts them in the doors and possibly the mailboxes, or maybe it goes to a group email in that building. Now let's take that even next level. Maybe he doesn't just own one building. Maybe he owns a whole bunch of different buildings. And now, like Lord knows, you have a full-time job if that's something that you want to do. So it's about thinking a little bit bigger, but it's also thinking a little bit abstract. But you see how something so small, like just planting flowers for one balcony, something that you enjoy doing on your own, that you would really do for free, can turn into a full-time gig, and you've now just turned your passion into a paycheck. So there's nothing to be afraid of here. The only thing that's stopping you from turning that passion into a little bit of pay is the fact that you're probably a little petrified. Let's stick with the P's. I just popped my P on the microphone. That's not good for a radio announcer. And that's just one building. That's just one gentleman. This is something that you could move all across a city. In fact, maybe somebody's going to take that idea right now and blow it up. Who knows? But the power is within you to make sure that that can happen. So take advantage of that power and don't give it away to somebody else. Don't give it away by saying, that's just not something I can do, or it's not going to generate enough money. That is just the fear in your head stopping you from moving forward. It's a lie. That little voice is so often a lie. It stops you from doing all the things in life that you want to do until one day you're looking back on it saying like, man, why did I waste so much time? My voice work is something that I've always been told I could do, and I could do it very well. And I believe in my mind it's something that I could really blow up. Like, I don't think my voice is any worse than some of the biggest names in the industry that are out there voicing all the big movies or doing the documentaries or the commercials on TV. But know what's really nice? Know what's almost nicer than going out there and trying to do it? The story that I just told you. Because that story has no failure. When I move forward on that story and then I have failure, then it's not the fact, well, I could have been. It's the fact that I wasn't. And that scares people. It's like Al Bundy. I don't know if you know Married with Children. I'm assuming that you do. But, he was a high school football star. And he is always looking back to the past. And what a great story it would have been if he went on to the pros, right? It's kind of like the person that hurt himself in whatever sport it might be. Like, if I didn't get injured, I could have been big. It's like, well, what did you do after that injury? Like in some cases, sure, you just can't play anymore. But sometimes it just wasn't in the cards for them and the desire that they had to move forward and to be able to fulfill that story. It was just better to be able to say, I could have been, opposed to actually trying to be. So what I'm encouraging you to do with this podcast is to be that change, to be the things that you want to be, to reach for the things that you want to reach for, and not be afraid of failure. I have fucked up and failed so many times in my life, it's absolutely disgusting. But it's only truly a failure when you quit. And it's almost a failure if you just don't bother to learn from the mistakes that you made. But you can make it happen. And don't worry about the dollars. The dollars don't matter. The internals matter. Don't worry about, I'm not going to be able to buy that pool, or I'm not going to be able to have that deck, or I'm not going to be able to have that car. This is an opportunity for you to build what's on the inside, which I know is just fresh air, exercise, spirituality, and then just the happiness of having those things and not associating a cost to them. You can really make money doing just about anything. My mentoring course, which I'm thinking about just practically giving out for free because I just want to help people during these turbulent times, called Everybody's Upline, was just a period of time where, I wanted to offer more value at the same time. I needed to make a little bit of extra money. So I created this course, and I did it with my good friend, Jeremy DeMerchant. You can make money a whole bunch of different ways. Just find anything that you like to do, something that you believe you could teach another person, and then have the belief that there's somebody out there that will pay for your services. Remember, you are an expert in something. Those 10,000 hours, what have you put those 10,000 hours into? Or what are you willing to put some of those 10,000 hours into to where you're going to be an expert to somebody no matter where along the lines you may be in your learning, right? You don't have to be the best of the best to go out there and be a teacher. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say right now, if there's someone that's watching right now that wants a little bit of help in regards to their online business or how to turn their passion into a paycheck, I will offer up that course almost for free, to be honest, because I just want to add value here. And I know that there's a lot of people that are in need. And maybe I'll do it in a big group. I don't know. I'll figure that shit out later. But I'm just going to put it out there that I'm going to try to figure out something in regards to helping people turn their passions into a paycheck other than just this podcast. I guess, I kind of just want to finish with this, is that you have greatness inside of you. You absolutely do. We all have greatness. inside ourselves. And I think it's really important that personal development is going to be a part of this for you, which means reading good literature, watching good things on YouTube, staying away from Netflix. When I see people say like, oh, you know, what's the next thing I should binge on Netflix? And then I also hear that person say like, oh, FML, and I'm not making enough money and it's so expensive. Well, man, like your time is currency, my friend. And where are you going to put that time? Are you going to put that time into things that are going to enrich you, or are you going to put time into things that are going to offer you no value other than wasting that time that you could be using to take that passion and turn it into a paycheck? Let's just break it down to a couple of steps. So number one, just do a budget, right? Know how much that you need. Number two, drop externals that you don't need. Number three, like be very careful with your time and start putting your time to where you want to see it manifest, which is making more money. You're not going to do that when you're watching Netflix and playing video games and tickety-talking, unless you're like a content creator there. Number four, like find something that you believe in. Find a passion that you want to try to turn into a paycheck. And then that takes me kind of like to number five, or whichever fucking number I'm at right now, is just believing. You need to believe that you can go out there and achieve. I'm going to like probably totally blow up a quote right now, but something like a lot of people say like, I'll believe it when I see it, when the truth is you have to see it. No, you need to believe it. You know what I'm fucking saying. Believe it before you can see it. Yeah! Fucking nailed it. This is a total mess. So anyways, I'm just going to shove all this shit together and hopefully it makes sense and adds value to you. And you know what? Share your passion projects in the comments as well. Don't forget to subscribe, click the notification button, and I don't know, send me money. See? You can just make money pop out of nowhere. You take care, be well, love simply because you can.